Wheels of the bus. The chartered bus rumbled along the coastal highway, tires humming against wet asphalt as the Pacific churned gray and restless to the left. 23 students filled the seats, some dozing against windows streaked with rain, others scrolling phones or murmuring in low clusters. Professor Elena Reyes stood at the front, gripping the overhead rail, her voice steady over the engine's drone. Today we're reading Ezekiel chapter 1 together, not as ancient trivia, but as a vision that refuses to stay contained. Exile. Displacement. A god who shows up anyway, on wheels that move without turning, with a sound that drowns everything else. The group had been on the road 4 days already, part of an intensive summer seminar titled Prophetic Visions and Modern Landscapes. They had started in a university lecture hall, moved to overnight cabins near forested trails, and now headed toward a rugged coastal overlook for what the syllabus called experiential exegesis. Most had signed up for the credits, or the scenery. A few actually wanted to wrestle with the text. Rain thickened as they pulled into the gravel lot at the trailhead. The professor gestured toward the short path to the viewpoint. We'll read the chapter out loud here. The ocean will do the rest. Students spilled out in hoodies and rain jackets, boots crunching on wet stone. Wind whipped salt spray against their faces. They formed a loose semicircle near the railing, backs to the drop where waves exploded against black rocks far below. One student, a junior named Riley, who usually sat in the back and rarely spoke, read first. Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, on the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river Chebar, that the heavens were opened and I saw visions of God. The words felt small against the roar of the surf. Another student, Mateo, picked up the next verses, his voice rising to compete with the wind. When they reached verse 24, when they went, I heard the noise of their wings, like the noise of many waters, like the voice of the Almighty, a tumult like the noise of an army. A particularly large wave slammed the rocks and sent a deep, rolling boom up the cliff. Several people laughed nervously. Others fell quiet. The professor waited for the echo to fade. That's the sound system, she said. Not polite background music. Overwhelming. Unignorable. The kind of glory that knocks you flat. She nodded toward the churning water. Ezekiel didn't get a tidy sanctuary. He got exile, chaos, and this mobile throne that rolls right into it. Let's walk a little farther and find a spot to sit. They followed the muddy trail single file, conversation fragmenting into pockets. A cluster of friends debated whether the 4 faces, man, lion, ox, eagle, represented the Gospels or simply the fullness of creation. Someone else muttered that the whole thing sounded like a bad acid trip. Up ahead, the path opened to a flat outcrop sheltered by wind-bent pines. The group settled on damp logs and rocks, hoods up, phones tucked away for once. Elena opened her own Bible. Let's focus on the wheels today. Verses 15 through 21. Read them slowly. A senior named Jordan took the lead, his voice deliberate. Now as I looked at the living creatures, behold, a wheel was on the earth beside each living creature with its 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their workings was like the color of beryl, and all 4 had the same likeness. The appearance of their workings was, as it were, a wheel in the middle of a wheel. He paused when a gust rattled the trees overhead. When they moved, they went toward any one of the 4 directions. They did not turn aside when they went. Someone in the back whispered, like they're omnidirectional. No dead ends, Jordan continued. As for their rims, they were so high that they were awesome, and their rims were full of eyes all around the 4 of them. Wherever the Spirit wanted to go, they went, because there the Spirit went, and the wheels were lifted together with them, for the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. The words hung for a moment, then Mateo spoke up. So the eyes aren't just decoration. They're watching everything while the whole thing moves. God sees it all. And he's not stuck. Even when everything feels stuck. A few heads nodded. Riley, who had been staring at the ocean, finally spoke. My mom's sick. Really sick. I came on this trip because I needed to get away, but it feels like running in place. Like my life's wheels aren't turning. Hearing this, I don't know. It's weirdly comforting to think there's someone, that doesn't get jammed up the way I do. The group shifted. A couple of people exchanged glances. Others looked down at their hands. The professor didn't rush to fill the silence. Instead, she asked, what happens when the sound system shows up in your own life? When something, grief, doubt, a crisis, gets so loud it drowns out everything else? Does it feel like judgment or like presence? Thunder rumbled far offshore, low and rolling. No one answered right away. Then a freshman named Lena, who had been quiet most of the trip, said softly, it feels terrifying at first. like the army tumult. But maybe that's the point. You can't ignore it. You have to deal with it. And if it's God's voice in the noise, then you're not alone in the dealing. Rain began again, soft at first, then steady. The professor closed her Bible. We're not going to solve Ezekiel today. But we can sit with it. Write for 10 minutes, whatever comes up. No sharing unless you want to. Just let the text and the place talk back to you. Pens scratched on damp notebooks. Some stared at blank pages. Others wrote quickly, heads bent. The ocean kept its relentless rhythm, waves crashing like distant applause, like many waters, like a voice that refused to be silenced. Overhead, clouds moved in slow, interlocking patterns, carrying the storm wherever it willed. When the 10 minutes ended, no one spoke immediately. They packed up in near silence, shoulders brushing as they filed back down the trail. The bus waited, engine idling. As they climbed aboard, soaked and quieter than when they'd arrived, a few lingered at the door, looking back at the overlook one last time. The wheels of the bus turned, carrying them down the highway toward whatever came next.